Good morning. Today is May the 17th and I wanted to give a quick garden tour, see what's growing today. We have been gone over the weekend, and so there's a lot of things that need to be picked right now, in the process of putting in some more beans and corn. And yeah, I have a basket here to pick some tomatoes and squash that need to be picked, as well as some green beans. And then I have my French press here to gather some flowers to make some tea later. The tea from the edible flowers out here helps with my allergies. I have really bad allergies, and the pollen from the flowers actually helps. It seems like it helps me to be able to deal with the pollen in the air a lot better whenever I drink it. So this is a new little side garden that I have put in right here, and I just got some Gerber daisies and some impatiens and some geraniums going in here. And what I want to do is I want to put that yucca right there in the ground, and then do a couple of my banana trees and kind of carry the garden all the way, wrap it around the this part of my screen room. And my containers are looking good. These geraniums here. This is a big pot of oregano. It has a hibiscus plant in it. This is my key lime and some calibrachoas. And then here's my Persian lime with some sage and strawberries. More calibrachoas, geraniums. This is a jasmine over here. Some more calibrachoa, another jasmine, geraniums. Just all kinds of flowers growing here. My mustard's still going in these pots. This is Savannah mustard from Hoss Tools. And some petunias. This garden right here by the greenhouse has changed up a little bit. Got my pineapple sage. That's that pink flower that's flowering right there. And then I've got cardinal basil in here, and some shizu, which is the purple stuff, and some Genovese basil. And way down there in the bottom I got some thyme that I need to move because it's completely buried by all the basil. Then I have some Scotch bonnet peppers that overwintered in my garden that I moved over here that are just putting on fruit now. And then here in front of the kitty is 3 poblano peppers. And then down here I pulled out most of the cabbages, and I've got some cherry tomatoes that I gotta stake up to these little stakes here. I harvested my potatoes out of these pots, and I've got a couple of cherry tomatoes growing in there. So that's what's going on. I planted a couple of cantaloupes that I had in here, but I just need to come in here and mulch this, and I'll probably plant at least another watermelon in there. And then in the greenhouse I'm trying to start some okra, which the okra that I've started ain't doing too well. But the cucumbers and melons did wonderful this go around. So plenty warm enough. And then I planted some dragon tongue beans and some those purple pole beans that I have out there, the Blahide from Baker Creek. Got some Trail of Tears, some Blue Lake poles, and some more lima beans that I've got to get out into the garden. And then it is coming up middle of May, so all of my caladiums in my shade garden are starting to pop up. So I've got caladiums and coleus, and then that is a I forget what it's called. It's a shade swamp lily that has a big purple flower on it. I just got a couple of them. There's another one right there. And then I've planted a bunch of those salvias that I started from seed in here. Got some of my cannas are coming back. I've got some Shasta daisies that I've put in here, and yeah, all of my cannas. These red ones that you see here are called dwarf firecracker, and I've had them for about 10 years. I bought them at my old property and kept them in pots, and then I came here and I've just been dividing them all over the place. You'll see them, the butterflies and the bees just love them. This is my plumbago plant that I've had here for about a year. You just saw one in the side of my little chicken pen garden over there. And I put one in up there by the screen room as well. So you see the peace lilies and the queen's tears. More of my caladiums that are coming up everywhere. More of the shade garden. I got ginger, some zinnias that I've poked in here, some monkey grass, some more of these little not petunias, I can't think of the name of them right now, but they're shade plants, and I got them all these colors, but these came off the clearance rack. Then I got my yellow cannas, dwarf cannas, coming up here. These are some lilies. And then my ginger is actually starting to flower, which I haven't never seen a flower before, so that's pretty cool. And then I got some more salvias that have been here for a couple of years. Some more purple ones, red ones, my pink lemonade dwarf canna. And then I've also got some sunflowers that I planted in here. And more of the salvia. I love that red salvia. The red salvia kind of goes with the cannas that I have. And there's some purple salvia in the containers that I've planted here. That one's looking a little rough. They take turns which one looks better than the other one. But this one is still going. Keep cutting this lobelia back, and it keeps dying, but then it will come back after I cut it. So that's what's going on in here. More sunflowers, more lilies, amaryllis lilies they're done blooming. I have a rose bush down here. Some zinnias. There's a couple purple salvias. That was the only purple one out of all the seeds that I planted. They're supposed to be mixed colors. There's a sunflower, but they were all turned out to be red except for that one purple one, which I like the red one, so it's okay. Then you'll see here on my beans that the rattlesnake beans are filled up on this row here, and then on this side is the purple blawhide pole beans, which you can see those are filled up as well. And then my mustard is going to seed here to finish pulling it out. And then I've got more, you see all the blawhide beans up there. They're growing through these tomato plants. And you can see all the lettuce that has gone to seed that I need to pull out. I'm just letting it flower and spread seeds everywhere. But this is tomatoes. You see we've got a bunch of green tomatoes that just started getting tomatoes coming in. And then this is a turnip down here. And then in here is a bunch, it had lettuce, and I pulled it all out, but what's remaining is some chocolate mint. And then my Kentucky Wonders, I did cut back my collards pretty good, and they I canned about 20 jars of collard greens and kale, and they're starting to put on some new growth. And then right here is these red torch sunflowers. They're not really in the sunflower family. They're a different species, but they're called red torch Mexican sunflower. And look at these baby bees inside of here loving these sunflowers. This is one of the main reasons why I plant these sunflowers, but this is the first one that has bloomed. It is gorgeous, and the bees are just loving it. So I've got about 6 or 7 of these big old plants that I planted throughout the garden, but you can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 or 6, and actually they're coming off all over it. So this plant will have these red torch sunflowers all over it. So since we're right here, this is my zucchini and corn growing in here. This is the Alexandria zucchini. There is some yellow crookneck squash growing in here, but you can see the Alexandria zucchini in there. Every one of these plants, that has been the outperformer of the squash this year. It's first time growing that variety from Haas Tools. It's a green Ukrainian zucchini. But you can see I also planted some corn in here. Let's see what kind of corn. So, okay. This is the Temptress sweet corn from Haas Tools, and it's not very tall, but it is tasseling in there, and it's getting some ears, small little ears on there, so I need to probably throw some more fertilizer on it. And then over here we got some pumpkins growing out of this tire, and then in the middle of this we've got some corn. This is probably some of that orange or red corn that I planted. I don't see what kind of corn it is. I don't remember either, but it might be that orange grinding corn that I planted. So, squash and pumpkins all growing in here. And then over here, I got cucumbers. These are the Calypso cucumbers from Haas Tools. And I've gotten one off each plant, but now this one's starting to do really good. Got another cucumber plant there. And then over here, this is Seminole pumpkins and cantaloupes in here. Might be, there's like one or two watermelons in here as well, but they're starting to put flowers on. And then in this bed, I just have some pepper plants down here. These are the pinata mix bell peppers. And then this guy right here, I believe, is a spaghetti squash that I tucked into the side of this wheelbarrow. And then there's some straight neck squash and some of those orchard cream nasturtiums that I planted. And then back there, there's a couple of those partial eclipse squash from Haas Tools. And then this row and this thing here, I have some gypsy peppers, havasu peppers, and some banana peppers. And I haven't replanted my peas with anything, but there is a tomatillo growing in there that volunteered. I've got several of these big sunflowers and then a Mexican sunflower growing in there. But I'll probably transplant the other volunteer tomatillos that I have around the garden and into here, and put sweet potatoes in here as well. So you can see a big old Alexandria squash poking out over there. I need to make some zucchini bread. And on this aisle, you see I've got the Georgia candy roasters and the burpee spaghetti squash coming over here. You can see I've got my speckled lima beans or Christmas lima beans growing up here. And so this big old squash plant ain't even growing in this row. It's growing in the row beside, but it came over here. And then I got some some corn down here. Another Mexican sunflower. More lima beans. Another Mexican sunflower. And we got a Georgia candy roaster. Oh, there is a spaghetti squash. The pickle worms are out, so I got to spray BT today. They're starting to get into my squash. So, yeah, there was cucumbers growing in here, but I think the squash kind of came over here. All the different spaghetti squash kind of came over here and took over. So I just pulled out the last of my potatoes, and this aisle here is spaghetti squash and North Georgia candy roasters and buttercup squash. And they're going everywhere. And there are spaghetti squash growing all in there. But I do need to start getting the BT out and spreading that around. You can see down in there, there's some spaghetti squash growing in there. And then this back row beside the wheelbarrow is tomatoes. Tomatoes and those cannelli beans. So the cannelli beans are looking like this. I'm leaving these all to be shelling beans now. I've got so many green beans. And they are just beautiful beans. and they will have big white type, kind of like in between a cannelli bean and a lima bean type bean inside them. But I've been calling them cannelli beans, but their actual name is borlato bean. And you can see you got lots of beans growing everywhere throughout here. They're kind of holding up my tomatoes, as you can see. They're kind of helping me keep them wound up and keep them falling down, but there's lots of tomatoes growing everywhere. And then here is some Roma tomatoes. These are early girls right here, and there's a chicken being nosy, turkin. So you can see I got lots of tomatoes growing, and they're all turning now. And then over here I got some Hungarian hearts tomatoes. I need to start putting stakes in. I need to get some more stakes. And then my grow bags that have my pepper plants, I got about 5 pepper plants in each one. Got sweet bananas, lemon hot peppers. We've got some of these sweet bonnets, and we've got some lemon spice jalapenos, some scotch bonnets, and some pumpkin spice. And then we got some guajillo peppers. And then back here you see my raspberry plant, which has not really done anything in the last year that I've had it. Hadn't done anything yet. It may be in August. I think it's a later July, August raspberry. But this is a sweetie pie blueberry. I've got 2 of them. They've got a bunch of small young blackberries on. But my Arapaho blackberry has been showing out big time. Big time showing out. I've got lots of blackberries on here to pick. And then my blueberries are also putting on. And then this container, I'm fighting to get through some lettuce that has gone to seed. And then we'll step back for a second. We kind of walked past the tomatoes, but we've got some of the these bigger ones in the back are Cherokee purples. And then I've got some of those yellow cream nasturtiums, and all these marigolds I started from seed. And then I've got these purple and green tomatoes that I planted from seed. I've got a bunch of Chef's Choice orange. You can see the yellow ones growing in there. A bunch more green ones. Got a lot of Chef's Choice, Dr. Witchy, Burpee Big Boy right here. I grew him from a sucker from one of the plants over there. And then we got some more nasturtiums and these say they're Romas, but they're obviously not Romas. And then back there we got some Dr. Witchies. And then this whole aisle here is tomato plants. And we have a variety. I got a cantaloupe over there and a couple tomato plants in here. And nasturtiums. We got some Chef's Choice orange and some Juliet. This is a Juliet red cherry. And got some more tomatoes. German Queen tomato right there. Canary yellow, Chef's Choice orange. And then here I have Alaskan mix of nasturtiums. These came out orange. They're supposed to be red and orange and yellow. Different colors. And then in this pot right here I got some of the Ichabod eggplants with some marigolds that grew from seed. Then you can see right there one of those North Georgia candy roasters. And then I have some tomatillas in this pot that volunteered that I just moved over here that are getting some tomatillos. There's one that's ready right there. And then that whole row is just the North Georgia candy roasters and buttercup squash and more spaghetti squash. And then you can see my peach tree. I pruned it back pretty good this year, so it gave me some peaches finally. I'm waiting for them to get ripe any day now. And there is all the tomatoes from that aisle. And more tomatoes coming on these newer ones that I've put in. And then in this back row, I have some of that variegated corn from In My Gardener. And it is tasseling, and it's actually grown taller than any of the rest of them. But the other ones were competing with the squash, trying to get taller before it got out of hand. But this aisle right here is spaghetti squash, the burpee spaghetti squash. And I can see one down there growing. And then I have pumpkins growing on this side. I don't see no pumpkins down in there, but it is growing up my grapevine trellis. And there's a little pumpkin right there, but they're just hiding in there. And then my grapes are doing good this year. Hopefully we'll get some, and we'll get them before the birds do. So in here I just got my strawberries going, onions, and there is a Chianti sunflower, the purple one that I planted. And then you can see up there, I don't know what kind that one is. It's maybe a mammoth one, but it is 8 feet tall right now. And then it has 2 more over here on the side, kind of helping to hold up. They're going to be, these are the Chiantis too. They're going to be purple, but I've been waiting for these to open up. And I got some more strawberries here. Got some nasturtiums I've been trying to plant out. They're already blooming. And then I got some more sunflowers, and you can see the sunflower here. I don't know what it is, but it has, you see all the little heads, sunflower heads everywhere that's going to have sunflowers, covered in sunflowers. And then I have some eggplant. I believe these are the orange eggplant, Turkish orange eggplants growing here. They've just started to flower. I got some more tomato plants tucked in here, and some more basil. And then over here in this pot, I've got some banana peppers and jalapenos. And what is that? Habanero. And then I've got some in this pot. I got some more of those sweet bonnets planted right here. 3 of them. And then there's still some mint growing. And I believe these are pumpkin spice jalapenos. And then these are my Santa Fe Grande peppers, which are so good, especially grilled on the grill. And we'll go back over here. This corner behind me still is not developed. Still got to clear it out. Maybe for the fall garden it's gonna be done. But we've got some more tomato plants, some more aromas. Let's see if I can figure out what this is. This is a kaleidoscope. Oh, okay. There's a pepper right in between there. It's a kaleidoscope bell. And I've got some more of those purple and green tomatoes growing. What they're called. Nope, that was the marigold tag. And then in this little tire, I've got some of the yellow store bell peppers. So these are yellow bell peppers that I use the seeds from the store. And then these eggplants, I believe, are the Green Knight. Yeah, Green Knight eggplant. So these are going to be a light green. So far I've got the light green ones. I've got the one Ichabod purple over there, Japanese eggplant. And then I've got the Turkish orange. And then over here on my seed starting table, I have some shoestring eggplants that I'm interested in trying out, trying to get them up to size. And then I've got some more celebration tomatoes, different kinds of tomatoes in here. And then over here I've got some petunias and these are Marconi Reds that I need to separate out. Some poblanos that started from seed, Chinese string eggplants, and a volunteer cucumber looks like. There's basil in here as well. And then in this pot, I've got daddle peppers that I grew from seed. I just took the seeds out of a daddle pepper that I had picked off the vine before the cold froze them all and killed them all. In here, so I just cleared out the gold nuggets from Hoss Tools. And they germinated really well. They grew really well. They weren't very big, but they were definitely gold, but they weren't a very big carrot. And these are the Yellowstone carrots. So they're yellow too. So both of these were yellow carrots. These did very well as well. They seem to got bigger, but they could have been thinned better. And then there's some romaine lettuce that I have growing back here. And this used to be sugar snap peas. I replanted it with corn. And I believe this was I had temptress and I had candy corn and that I had replanted. And that might have been the temptress corn. But I have also the peas that I planted around them are the white butter peas. And these are white butter peas. I'm going to finish filling this up with corn that's left here. I got some kale. And in the back row there, I've got some more of those butter peas and a lot of mint and a cilantro. And there's some lettuce growing right there. And then over here on the bottom is dragon tongue beans and rattlesnakes and Kentucky wonders growing on the fence. This bed still has carrots, different kinds of carrots, and a cucumber plant and a couple turnips left in there. This bed is nothing. It's just not been cleared out yet. This one has still got purple cabbages. They finally I got the tree down over there, so they're finally getting sunlight, so they're putting on heads now. And this right here is my curly kale and purple kale, and that's my dinosaur kale. And then all underfoot that's growing everywhere like a ground cover is chocolate mint, which I don't mind it. It keeps the bugs away and it smells great, and when you walk on it, it just releases that mint smell. So here in this little bed, we got some more tomatoes and marigolds, and got a lot of those orange cherry tomatoes, gold bunch tomatoes, and what's this one? Dr. Witchy right here. And we got some canary yellow. The canaries are the little saladettes that are orange. So this is a Kellogg's breakfast right here. Got some more onions I can plant out right there, and a little to be coming a little bit later. And then here is a small wonder spaghetti squash. So I've got several in here, and the worms are starting to try to get a hold of them. So I gotta really do BT on these and fertilize them so they'll bloom some more. But they did pretty good. They got quickly to going and putting on fruit. So this one is my patty pan bed, and I have white, yellow, and green patty pans. You can see I've got a white one there, there's a yellow one right here, and then I also planted some corn in here, which it's small. It's putting on these little tiny ears, so I don't think it's really going to do much. But you can see I got lots of Alexandria squash over here. But there's some yellow ones in there, and the yellow patty pans seem kind of like in between a summer and a winter squash. They're not really as, and these are the partial eclipse from Hoss Tools. But yeah, those yellow ones, they seem kind of like, I don't know, they have a tougher skin on them than the rest of the summer squash and zucchini. They're not as tender as the green ones that I grow, and they're like a heart shaped, so that's kind of interesting. But they're pretty good fried like the rest of them. Let's see what other. Wolverine is these purple and green ones that I've been telling you about. So I'm about to run out of time, so I'm gonna go ahead and close up the video there, and we will get another update next week. There's the garden. I'll kind of pan around so you can see the jungle as it grows right now in mid-May.